Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. This time we have Josh's list that took 4th place at the recent Folkestone Regional, and he was playing Prankid, so a very consistent looking list here, at least in terms of the build. So let's run through everything. We have triple Lampsies, triple Fansies, triple Dropsies, and triple Roxies, triple Ash, triple Place, double Terraforming, triple Pranks, triple Pandemonium, triple Instant Fusion, triple Polymerization, triple Call By, triple Desires, and double Plans. So 40 card list and plenty of 3-ofs in there. For the extra, there are 2 Rocket Rides, 2 Weather Washers, 1 Battle Butler, Borrowload, Borrow Sword, 1 Roaring Roaster, 1 Unicorn, 1 Phoenix, double Doodle Doodle Doo, 2 Bow Bark, and 1 Totally Awesome. For the side deck, triple Denko, double Pankratops, triple Gamma, 1 Driver, triple Evenly, and triple Red Reboot. So that is it for the main deck. Let's take a look at the siding strategy that he's applied then. So against Mech Knight Invoked, no sides when going first, but for going second, putting in the Pankratops and taking out the 2 Terraformings there. Then against Thunder, putting in nothing again for first. For going second, he's got the Gammas going in order to deal with some of the things like Roar or Hawk so that they don't actually summon anything out. And also evenly matched in order to reduce the size of their board a bit. In order to fit all of those in, he's taking out the Desires, 1 Call By, and 2 Terraforming. Then for the Cosmo matchup, so putting in nothing and taking out nothing when going first. For most of these, actually, there's no changes when going first. Going second, triple Evenly and double Pankratops. Pankratops just gives you a big body in order to deal with some stuff. And taking out the 3 Desires and double Terraforming there. For Crusadia Guard Dragon, putting in the Drivers and the Driver and the Gammas for going second again. Taking out 2 Desires and 2 Terraformings. Just gives you some form of disruption against their pretty impressive turn 1 boards. And lastly, for Zephyra, there is actually a change going first here where he's putting in the Pankratops and taking out double Terraforming. And then for going second, putting in triple Gamma and triple Evenly, taking out triple Desires and triple Call By, since they aren't going to be running too many hand traps in that particular build. So let's move on to the rounds that he played then. And after that we can go on to the questions. So round 1 he played against Mech Knight Invoked. 2-0 match here, relatively easy, even though he managed to banish 3 Fansies in game 1 off the Desires, he still managed to win it. Round 2 against Thunder Dragon was pretty easy. Round 3 against 55 cards Zephyra, he knows the guy from locals, the deck is pretty scary, but a 2-1 victory because Gamma in game 3 is just too strong. Round 4 against Thunder Dragon, this was Andre. It's a 1-2 loss here because he didn't play particularly great. Made some misplays that cost him the game, forgetting some of the Titan interactions here. Perhaps he was just wooed by Andre's charm there. Round 5 against Crusadia Guard Dragon, he went 2-1. The opponent didn't know what he was doing, what Josh was doing for most of the game, and even though he had a bad hand in game 2, which caused him a loss, he wouldn't have been able to out the Aquamax and Dawn Dragster anyway, so not too much of an issue there. Round 6 against Cosmo, 2-1 here. D-Barrier really hurts the deck, and he didn't draw optimal in game 2, which allowed his opponent to OTK, so a bit unfortunate there. In round 7 against Thunder Dragon again, 2-1, he managed to eke out a win here in time, but it was very close and a pretty stressful game in all there. So on to the sort of more general questions. He said that the event was pretty well run, and the lunch break that they had was very much needed as he'd had card trouble in getting there, but fortunately it was all okay in the end. He decided to play Prankids because it's kind of a combination between the hype that Dinker Boy had established from winning the YCS, and also because he just really liked the deck. It seemed like fun, and he found the strategy very enjoyable. He says that, surprisingly, the deck is really consistent, even though you mostly need to establish 3-card combos. The only downside is sometimes you can't draw a fusion spell for the life of you, but also you can brick on them a lot, so you only really need to see 1 or 2 Polymerization and 1 Prankid's Pandemonium, as you can recycle everything anyway. Now, Desires can be a bit of a pain with this deck sometimes, as we mentioned before. In the first game, first round, he managed to banish 3 of the Fansies, I believe, which can be a bit unfortunate, but it doesn't ever really cost you the match, so you can afford to play it within this deck. The deck doesn't have to normal summon all that often after you set up your initial board, which is why you can bring in the Denko Sekkers going second here, just because sometimes the Denko does win a matchup. For the easiest matchup for this deck, he says it's probably Thunder, as you can tag around Titan pretty easily. Danger Thunder is a little bit harder, but it still has a very favourable matchup here. The hardest matchup is probably Altergeist or Guru Control, because the Floodgates completely wreck you, as well as the summon negation that they have. However, he's geared the side deck to mostly be able to beat that matchup anyway. In terms of some of the changes, he thinks he'll probably change the Gamma and Pancratops in the side deck because Phantasme is too strong now and it allows you to fix your hand, which he does regret not seeing beforehand. And he'd love to shout out everyone who travelled with him and who tested with him, especially Matty, Sam and both Aarons for keeping him sane early in the day, as he was worried about the car. Also shoutouts to Glenn and the guys above for putting up with when he was learning the Yi deck. And lastly, a shout out to Andre, who won the event. Such a gentleman. So thanks very much for coming on, Josh, and showing us your list and giving us all of this information. And hopefully we'll see you again in the future. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger or anything like that. Will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.